Hi everyone, this is Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop, and I'm here with Carolin Life Love Coach. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
That's good.
Yeah.
Coping with life.
Coping. But life is like that. It's a constant struggle.
That's right.
But we get through it.
That's right.
And
That's
become as
what
happy
life's-
as we want to be.
As much as we can create or focus.
Exactly. We create our own happiness.
Actually, from our conversation last week, I actually learned a lot from what you were saying, because we talked about letting go last week and how people find it hard to let go. And I kind of knew that as a concept, right? You sort of know, you know, we get told that in our, you know, media and social. But what I got from what you were saying is letting go, but then creating something to feel, to replace. Yeah. And I kind of knew that concept too. I kind of knew it in just, you know, general talk. Yeah. But when you were explaining that in the last video, I really got it. I was like, wow, I kind of knew it as a theory before. Yeah. But it really cemented it for me. I was like, okay, so when I have a client when I have a client and they're stuck on somebody, it's not just me saying, I'll get over it and you'll find somebody new. Yeah. But get over it, but you need to fill the space with something new, not necessarily someone new, but something.
Yeah, because people don't like voids. It's emptiness.
Yeah.
We are scared of emptiness. We want to fill the emptiness with something else. And even if a boyfriend is horrible, it's still someone there. And if we kick him out of our life, it's nothing. And we fear nothing. Yeah. And I know that for a lot of people I see and a lot of clients, some of them are really stuck on somebody, you know, and like sometimes for many years, 20 years, 30 years sometimes, you know, and they just can't let go. But I always try to say to them, it's because you're not creating anything new. Yeah. You know, but then they also don't know what to create. You know, that's where they're stuck. You know, I've had clients, I can tell you, I've had clients that I've known for 7-8 years that have asked the same question. Yeah. You know, I have one in particular that I'm thinking of. I won't say the name or the occupation, because she has quite a unique occupation. Okay. And she's a very educated person, like, you know, degrees and everything, but she's been stuck on this one guy for at least, I mean, I remember seeing her in my last shop, which was like 7 years ago. And I remember I told her when I first met her, this guy's not for you. I remember point blank telling her that. And then she came back another month, and then we did the reading again, and I said, no, it's not going to work. And then she's just come back every year. And in the last maybe 2 or 3 years, we've been doing a lot of video readings for her, because I've been overseas and she's been in a different state. And it's just the same question, and it's always the same answer. No, he's not for you, he's not for you, he's not for you. But what I see with her, and what I have tried to tell her is, why don't you try to start dating? You know, why don't you try to start meeting other people? And she has tried, maybe half-heartedly, I think. But she always goes back. Trying is an excuse. You know, Yoda, do or do not. There is no try.
Exactly. I love that.
When we are trying, we are running away from our responsibility to actually do. Yeah. Like we say, oh, I'm trying to date. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to exercise. But that doesn't mean you're doing anything. You're still stuck in where you are. And my clients I used to have, at least when they got into that being stuck in the person that they really want, that is something else. It's not that person. Maybe I've also been in love with a guy for 8 years, but I didn't even know him. Yeah. I was stuck in that memory. This was ages ago, before I became wise. But I was stuck in fear of being in love.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because
definitely.
When you are stuck in someone who is not in love with you, who doesn't want you, you're safe.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You're safe from being vulnerable. You're safe from going out to dates, meeting someone new, and maybe that person will reject you or leave you or dump you or hurt you. But by staying in the heartbreak or staying in the trying, we are not putting ourselves out there being risked to.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I say that to them as well, you know. I'll say to them, you're holding on to him because you're afraid of going into the unknown. But now, from now on, I'll add, what are you going to create? And I'll put more emphasis on them to create something for themselves, rather than just give them more like motivation to create and then move on to another subject.
And it's easy just to say to someone, do this.
Yeah.
But what we need to do is to change the energy.
Yeah.
Like I do a lot of healing as well, and then we talk about high energy and low energy. And when you're stuck in the negative energies, you can't get out of that without creating a higher energy.
Yeah.
So when you are going out creating something new, it has to be with all that like sparks of joy. Ooh, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. That kind of energy that is like enthusiastic, inspiring, and something that you really, really want.
Yeah.
And you have to get yourself into that state. Oh my God, I am in love.
Yeah.
And what I ask my questions is, my clients is, what will you get out of? Like, if you want love, how is that gonna feel?
Yeah.
How will that improve your life? How will that be on a Tuesday afternoon if you have that love that you now say you want?
Yeah. What would you be like? What would it feel like? And get
How
them
will you walk?
aligned. Aligned to that. Yeah.
What would happen in your phone? Who would you be with? What would you wear?
Yeah.
Like you try a little bit role playing.
Yeah. It's really it's really getting that person out of the sort of stuck in a rut vibe into what they want to create.
Yeah.
How would they be? How would they feel if they met the love of their life? What would they be doing?
Exactly.
They'd be probably feeling good, dressing good, looking good, being happy. Create that now, rather than waiting to find him and then being happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't have to wait for anything. You can create happiness by yourself. And I don't mean like that, but but you can buy flowers for yourself.
Or tarot cards.
Tarot cards. So you can,
in my case,
go to parties. You don't have to wait.
Do something you love. Yeah.
Just give yourself a big hug, or
look. Sometimes I've had women as well where they come in and they're sort of depressed and sad and whatever, and and just the way they look, even the way they're presenting themselves, and they look like I call it like winter. They look like winter time.
Oh, right.
And then I usually, when I look at the cards, they usually have the goddess of spring. And I say, you need to feel like springtime, start dressing. Like what happens in spring, flowers start to grow, things start to grow and bloom. You've got to create that in your vision, in the way you dress as well,
People create depression.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very provocative and people will hate me for saying that. But by walking like that, holding your head down, speaking slowly, not eating well, or dressing in it's like you are creating your own depression. But why are you doing that? Many of my clients are scared. They don't want to go out and create that new. They don't want spring. Spring is like, oh my God, my eyes. What should I do?
Yeah.
I might get burned, like sunburned, and maybe I'm not worth it.
And it's much easier to be depressed, isn't it?
Yeah, you get support from people.
Yeah.
They
no
tilt
risk.
their
You don't
head.
have to take risks.
No.
You get to be a black hole sometimes too.
That's a comfort zone. And you know exactly how it feels.
Yeah.
And that's comfortable. No, going out in that spring,
it's not comfortable.
I mean, whoa.
Well, the thing about people that are, I don't know if the word is depressed. I suppose it is depressed. It's like not expressing themselves is another way of saying it. The opposite of depression is expression. So when someone is not expressing something, they're depressing, they're going depress. So express is when you express, depress is when you push down.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so when someone is
Very
depressing their wants, their desires, their fun, their joy, and then just being sorry for themselves because they can't have what they want, they say they want, often the other thing about that is it's a very strong position to be. Like, for example, if a depressed client comes to me and I'm trying to shift them, they're really strong in their depression. No, nothing works for me. I'll never get what I want. So they get to dominate too. I've had many cases, and maybe more when I was younger in my career, I would get dominated by a client too when I wasn't that experienced. And usually they'd be the ones that were like that, like no possibilities, nothing they ever get, nothing they ever want, they get. And then I'm stuck because I can't work with it because they're just blocking everything. If I get a good card in the future, oh, look, you've got the sun. Oh, yeah, but, whatever. They just put it down. So they used to dominate. Now I have my little techniques to get around that,
Because it's good for the client.
It's good for the client.
I mean, who wants to be depressed for the rest of their lives?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the option.
Yeah, people that want to control and dominate. It's a form of domination. Yeah.
And also they get angry.
Yeah.
I have a lot of clients who are mad with me because you push and you ask questions and you're like, but what do you mean by saying that? And they go, wow. And I do that too. I cover up my fear with anger.
Yeah.
Anger is such a dominant protection.
Yeah.
It's
Back
scared,
off.
yes.
Back off. Don't tell me what to do. You don't know my life.
Exactly. So
You don't know what I've been through. So then that's a form of them backing you off. See, in astrology and tarot, that's called pulling out their trump card. Like
Trump.
literally the trump card, like in tarot. So a trump card is a major card. It's like you're trying to point out where I can improve. So but I have depression.
Yeah.
So back off.
Exactly.
Or I have had a bad whatever happened
so
to me.
you are not allowed
You're not allowed to go there.
Because you are mocking me. Like they think I'm mocking them. When I say, well, choose another attitude.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. How can you do that? Right.
And that is fear.
Yeah.
And I do it too when I feel I'm pressured or worried. I get angry sometimes because it's easier to handle. Like if I did something that wasn't so good for a friend a day ago, and I regret that. But instead of apologizing and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I did that," I moved away and I got a little angry and almost tried to push that on her, and that was so stupid. And now I've solved the issue because now I'm a grown up.
You can clean it up.
Yeah, because you need to clean it up. But I covered because I was ashamed. I was so embarrassed I had done that.
Wow.
And because I was embarrassed, I didn't want to face that. I didn't want to talk about that, admit it and handle it and say I'm sorry. I got mad, and that was so dumb. So don't do that.
Yeah, or when you do it, notice you're doing it and then don't let it dominate. Because I always say to people as well, sometimes we feel scared, sometimes we feel angry, but don't let it dominate you. You're in control, not it is in control. Especially fear. Like I find a lot of people, I'll say, you might be afraid, for example, of finances. It's not bad that you have fear, but it's bad if the fear runs you. You can notice you have fear and then say, okay, I'm afraid of starving or whatever it is. But what can I do and often it is we're just afraid because we're imagining too. A lot of people have especially when they get the moon card in the tarot, the moon card brings up your subconscious fears because it's the subconscious.
Okay.
And I had a client just before and she had the moon in her money position, and I said to her, money, the moon means up and down phases. Like the moon gets light and then it goes dark, and your money will tend to go like that. Sometimes you'll make a lot, and then she said, yeah, that's pretty true. And I said, and also the moon can bring out your subconscious fears. And she said, oh, okay. it sort of went over her head.
Yeah.
And I said, you might have fears that you don't realize you have. And she said, well, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, what do you believe about money? And she said, I believe it's hard to get. And I said, well, who told you that? And she said, her father told her that. And I said, okay, so you've got your father's beliefs about money. You don't even have your own beliefs.
Oh, that's so powerful.
Yeah, and then I said, what does your mother believe? She said, oh, my mother always said we don't have enough and we're struggling. And I said, but are you struggling now? And she said, no. And I said, well, you've attracted the moon, you've absorbed your past.
Yeah.
And what you can do now is you can acknowledge your mother and father and what they did, but that's not you. You're in a different country, you're in a different world. You know, they might have had to survive in, different countries. They might have been poor, but you're not there now. And she's like, you know what? She said to me, I never thought of that. I was like, well.
Oh, that's so powerful.
Then she asked me what could she do, and I like to see. And I said, well, my teacher told me this years ago. Get a piece of paper and write on the top, what do I believe about money, and then just write what you believe about it, and then just look at it and say, oh my God, I believe.
And then you burn the paper.
You can burn it if you want to, but you can just look at it and say, oh, I believe I'll never have enough, or and then you can even write. What are my thoughts about money, or what do my parents believe about money? Like if you were brought up in a family, what did that family believe about money? Because then you've absorbed a lot of what they believe. Now, some people reject that and go the opposite. Like some people might reject what their parents have felt and they're like super millionaires or something as a result, right? Because they've gone the other way. But most of us, I would say most of us, absorb,
Yeah, of course.
Like I'll tell you a quick story. When I was about 5 years old, my mother and my sister, who was in a pushchair, we were walking home from school with me, my mother and my sister, and I saw 5 cents on the ground, right? And I picked it up and I gave it to my mother and I said, this is for the mortgage. And I was 5. I didn't even know what the word mortgage was, right?
Yeah, but you have heard her say
I heard her say it. And what happened was she said, what? Like she was surprised. So what was happening was my mum and dad would talk about money, and I'd be playing on the floor or playing in the backyard, whatever, but I would hear it. And I would absorb their worries, but I didn't even know what it was. So she said to me, and she told me this story when I was an adult. She told me about the 5 cent, because I'd forgotten about it, right?
Yeah, of course.
I said, really, did I do that? She said, oh yes. And then then that night she spoke to my dad and said, let's not talk about money around him, because he's absorbing our fears and our doubts. Isn't that incredible?
But we do, like, the theory about kids when they grow up, all they want is love.
Yeah.
Attachment theory, I'm thinking about. Like, or everything we want as kids is to be loved.
Yeah.
And that's why we do everything to make our parents love us. So you were looking for money. 5 cents.
To help out.
Because that was the way you
showing
thought
love.
you would get love from them.
Yeah, true,
and that is in love and relationships as well. Like a lot of people carry memories from when they were super young, in how they were loved or not loved by their parents. And that is now ruining relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right, well, let's stop the video there. All right, so that's we'll be back with another topic.
Yeah, some cards.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back.